After a pretty nail-biting week, it looks like Wall Street is getting ready for a massive green open on Monday. But, why all of a sudden optimism? Let's break down what's behind the market's complete change of heart.
So to really get why Monday's looking so good, we've got to rewind to Friday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average just smashed through a huge ceiling, closing above 50,000 for the very first time. And look, this wasn't just a number, it was a huge psychological win for investors.
But that celebration, well, it didn't come easy. It came at the end of a really wild week, one that included a pretty scary 3-day sell-off, led by big tech stocks that had a lot of people reaching for the panic button. So what flipped the switch? I mean, Friday's high was impressive, sure, but futures are pointing even higher for Monday's open. The answer, it turns out, lies in two major geopolitical events that happened over the weekend, and they totally changed the market's mood from fear to full-on optimism. See, before that epic rally, there were these two big storm clouds just hanging over the global economy, and believe me, they were making the markets very nervous. The first was this surprising and frankly escalating trade dispute over Greenland. It threatened to slap heavy 10% tariffs on some of our key European allies. And just the threat of that sent the S&P 500 to its worst day since October. This was not just talk, it sparked some very real fears of a damaging transatlantic trade war. But then the weekend happened, and two separate, totally game-changing developments just completely cleared the air. Let's take a look at what went down. Okay, first up, a major breakthrough on the Greenland issue. This new agreement just completely de-escalated the whole situation. Now, the key point for the markets is right here. The tariff threat is officially dropped. That is a huge sigh of relief for any multinational company doing business in Europe. And you can just feel the relief in this statement from Denmark's foreign minister. The threat of a trade war with Europe, it basically vanished overnight. You can almost hear the collective sigh from trading floors all around the world. Now, the second game changer came all the way from Asia. While Wall Street was resting over the weekend, Japan was holding a snap general election. And the results? Well, they weren't just a win for the ruling party, they were a decisive landslide. Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's coalition just sailed past the 233 seats they needed for a majority. And what this does is give her a really powerful mandate to push forward with her pro-growth, tech-focused economic agenda. And that agenda, which people are calling Sononomics, is exactly what the markets wanted to see. It's a massive plan to pour government money into these high-growth tech industries of the future. We're talking a special focus on things like AI and semiconductors. Okay, so you've got these two huge events, a trade war dodged in Europe and a massive pro-tech stimulus coming from Asia. What does all this actually mean for the market open on Monday morning? Well, together, these two things create what investors call a risk-on environment. The easiest way to think of it is like a green light. With those big fears of a trade war gone and a huge stimulus package basically confirmed, investors feel confident enough to move money out of safer things like bonds and into assets with higher growth potential, like stocks. Japan's election result is especially good news for what's known as the AI trade. This is the big bet that the entire supply chain for artificial intelligence, everything from the companies that design the chips to the ones that build the data centers, is set for huge, sustained growth. And after a bit of a shaky week, Japan's new stimulus plan gives this trade a powerful shot in the arm. So this positive vibe is expected to lift key sectors pretty much across the board. The Dow and S&P 500, they get a boost as their multinational giants rally on the trade news. Tech and AI stocks are poised to surge on that Japanese stimulus. And hey, even crypto is getting in on the action, with Bitcoin's sharp rebound back above $70,000, likely to lift related stocks with it.
So look, while the outlook is incredibly strong, Monday isn't a guaranteed slam dunk. There are still a couple of wild cards that we need to keep an eye on.
So what could spoil this party? Well, there are two key things to watch on Monday that could throw a wrench in the works. First, before the market even opens, we're going to get earnings reports from some key companies like Apollo and Cleveland-Cliffs. Any signs of weakness there could definitely give the market some early jitters. Then, later in the day, we have speeches from Federal Reserve officials, and that could change the mood. Any hint from them that they're worried about the economy could spook investors, and fast. And that really brings us to the key question for the week ahead. With two major external threats basically vanishing over the weekend, has the market's biggest risk now shifted? Is it no longer about the outside world, but about the health of the U.S. economy itself? That's what everyone's going to be watching. Thanks for tuning in.